Chapter 2 Nationalism in India Question Answers from Class 10 Subject Social Science History Book India and the Contemporary World 2 Activity Page 31 Read the text carefully. What did Mahatma Gandhi mean when he said Satyagraha is active resistance? Answer. When Mahatma Gandhi said Satyagraha is active resistance, he meant that it is not a passive or weak form of protest. Instead, it is a powerful moral struggle against injustice based on truth and non-violence. Satyagrahis actively resist evil without using violence. They challenge the oppressor's conscience through love, truth, and peaceful action rather than by hurting them. It requires courage, discipline, and inner strength, making it a very active form of resistance. Activity page 35. If you were a peasant in Uttar Pradesh in 1920, how would you have responded to Gandhiji's call for Swaraj? Give reasons for your response. Answer. If I were a peasant in Uttar Pradesh in 1920, I would have wholeheartedly joined Gandhiji's call for Swaraj. As a poor tenant farmer, I faced high taxes, unfair rents, and was often forced to work without pay, beggar for landlords. Gandhiji's promise of freedom from oppression, abolition of beggar, and fair treatment gave me hope for a better life. I would have joined rallies, boycotted British goods, and supported the movement in every possible way to fight for justice and dignity. Activity page 36. Find out about other participants in the national movement who were captured and put to death by the British. Can you think of a similar example from the national movement in Indochina? Chapter 2. Answer. Indian freedom fighters executed by the British. Bhagat Singh, hanged in 1931 for killing a British officer and throwing bombs in the Central Assembly. Sukhdev and Rajguru, hanged along with Bhagat Singh for their revolutionary activities. Khudiram Bose, hanged in 1908 at just 18 years old for attempting to assassinate a British magistrate. Similar example from Indochina, Pham Hong Thai, a Vietnamese revolutionary, attempted to assassinate a French official in 1924 and later committed suicide to avoid capture. Like Indian revolutionaries, he believed in sacrificing his life for national liberation. Discuss page 43. Why did various classes and groups of Indians participate in the civil disobedience movement? Answer. Different groups joined the civil disobedience movement for different reasons. Rich peasants wanted a reduction in land revenue as they were badly hit by falling agricultural prices. Poor peasants wanted rent waivers and relief from the burden of taxes and landlord oppression. Businessmen opposed colonial economic policies and wanted protection for Indian industries. Women, inspired by Gandhiji's call, they joined protests, made salt and picketed shops. Next, Dalits participated to demand social equality, though they also wanted political rights like separate electorates. Next, tribal communities fought to regain forest rights and resist forced labor. Each group saw Swaraj differently, but they united under the larger goal of ending British rule. Discuss. Read the source D carefully. Do you agree with Iqbal's idea of communalism? Can you define communalism in a different way? So friends, this is source D. You can pause the video and read it. Now let's see the answer. Iqbal's idea of communalism is based on the belief that different communities like Hindus and Muslims in India are culturally and politically distinct and should have their own separate political rights. While Iqbal stressed respect for all religions, his idea led to division rather than unity. My definition of communalism. Communalism is a political belief where a particular religious or ethnic group prioritizes its own interests over national unity, often leading to conflict. In a diverse country like India, communalism can damage social harmony and weaken the sense of nationhood. True nationalism includes respect and equal rights for all communities. Activity, page 48. Look at figures 12 and 14. Do you think these images will appeal to all castes and communities? Explain your views briefly. Answer. Both images of Bharat Mata, figure 12 and figure 14, carry strong messages of nationalism, but their appeal might differ. Figure 12, Tagore's Bharat Mata, this one, shows a calm, spiritual motherly figure offering food, clothes, and education. It appeals broadly across communities as it is less religious and more inclusive. Figure 14a shows Bharat Mata with a Trishul Hindu symbol, this one, lion and elephant. This image might not appeal to all communities, especially non-Hindus, as it draws heavily from Hindu iconography. While both images aimed to inspire nationalism, figures rooted in a specific religion may not connect with everyone. A more neutral and inclusive image helps build a shared sense of belonging across all castes and religions. Next, write in brief. First, explain A. Why growth of nationalism in the colonies is linked to an anti-colonial movement. Answer. The feeling of nationalism in colonies like India developed as people began to recognize the injustices of British rule. Different groups, despite varied interests, united under the common goal of ending colonial exploitation. Their struggle against the foreign rule gave rise to a shared sense of identity and collective resistance. B. How the First World War helped in the growth of the national movement in India. Answer. The First World War caused huge economic and social problems in India. Taxes increased, prices doubled, and people were forcefully recruited into the army. Crops failed, and an influenza epidemic killed millions. These hardships increased public anger against British rule and strengthened the desire for freedom. C. Why Indians were outraged by the Rowlatt Act. Answer. The Rowlatt Act 1919 allowed the government to arrest and jail people without trial. It took away civil liberties like freedom of speech and assembly. Indians were shocked and felt betrayed as it was passed despite united opposition. The law was seen as a symbol of oppression. D. Why Gandhiji decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. Answer. In 1922, violence broke out at Chauri Chaura where a mob killed policemen. Gandhiji believed the movement was turning violent, which was against the principles of Satyagraha. He felt that Indians were not yet ready for mass non-violent struggle, so he called off the movement. Second, what is meant by the idea of Satyagraha? Answer. Satyagraha is a method of non-violent protest introduced by Mahatma Gandhi. It is based on truth and peaceful resistance. Gandhi ji believed that instead of using violence, people should persuade the oppressor with moral force. The idea was to win the battle through truth and soul force, not physical force. Third, write a newspaper report on A. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Answer. So friends, I have written the newspaper report according to the date of the event. Amritsar, 13th April 1919. In a horrifying incident yesterday, British troops under General Dyer opened fire on a peaceful crowd gathered at Jallianwala Bagh, Amritsar. The crowd had assembled for Baisakhi and to protest against the Rowlatt Act. Without warning, Dyer blocked all exits and ordered indiscriminate firing. Hundreds were killed and thousands injured. The incident has sent shock waves across the nation, sparking widespread outrage and protest. B. The Simon Commission, Delhi, 3rd February 1928. The Simon Commission arrived in India to discuss constitutional reforms but was met with massive protests and black flag demonstrations. The reason for the public anger is that the commission includes no Indian members. People across India are chanting Simon go back and demanding Indian representation. Leaders like Lala Lajpat Rai are at the forefront, highlighting India's demand for self-rule. Question 4. Compare the images of Bharat Mata in this chapter with the image of Germania in chapter 1? Answer: Germania, symbol of Germany. The image was painted by Philip Waite in 1848, carrying a sword in one hand and flag in another hand. Germania is wearing a crown of oak leaves as the German oak stands for heroism. Next, Bharat Mata, symbol of India, painted by Abanindranath Tagore in 1905. Bharat is standing with a trishul, standing beside a lion and elephant, symbols of power and authority. Next, discuss first, list all the different social groups which joined the non-cooperation movement of 1921. Then choose any three and write about their hopes and struggles to show why they joined the movement. Answer: middle class city dwellers, students, lawyers, teachers, peasants, tribal communities, plantation workers, businessmen, women. Three groups with their hopes and struggles. A. Peasants. In places like Awadh, peasants were angry at high rents and forced labor. Led by Baba Ram Chandra, they joined the movement hoping for reduced taxes and land rights. B. Tribals. In Andhra's Godem Hills, tribals opposed forest laws that limited their access to resources. Inspired by leaders like Alluri Sitaram Raju, they wanted to regain their traditional rights. C. Plantation workers. In Assam, plantation workers wanted the freedom to return to their villages. They believed that Gandhi Raj meant the end of restrictions and joined the movement in hope of liberty. Second, discuss the Salt March to make clear why it was an effective symbol of resistance against colonialism. Answer: the Salt March, Dandi March, was led by Gandhiji in 1930. He walked 240 miles to break the salt law, which taxed even a basic necessity. The act was symbolic because salt was used by everyone, rich or poor. It united people from all backgrounds. It showed defiance of British laws in a peaceful way. It led to the civil disobedience movement and mass participation. Thus, salt became a symbol of the Indian people's fight against colonial injustice. Third, imagine you are a woman participating in the civil disobedience movement. Explain what the experience meant to your life. Answer: as a woman, stepping out of the house to join the movement was a life changing experience. I joined marches, picketed liquor shops, and even made salt during the Salt March. I feel a deep sense of patriotism and pride. Though society expected me to stay home, Gandhiji's call made me realize that women too can fight for freedom. It was empowering and made me feel equal and responsible for my country's future. Question 4. Why did political leaders differ sharply over the question of separate electorates? Answer: leaders like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar demanded separate electorates for Dalits so they could choose their own representatives and fight caste discrimination. However, Gandhiji opposed this idea, believing it would divide Hindus and delay social integration. Muslim leaders also wanted separate electorates to protect their cultural and political rights. The demand for separate electorates created deep political divisions as each group feared marginalization. Next project, find out about the anti-colonial movement in Indochina. Compare and contrast India's national movement with the ways in which Indochina became independent. Answer: similarities. Both were struggles against European colonial powers, India against Britain, Indochina against France, use of mass movements and popular support, cultural revival and national symbols played a key role. Students, peasants, and workers actively participated. Differences: India, led by non-violence under Gandhi, Indochina, Vietnamese leaders like Ho Chi Minh used guerrilla warfare. India focused on mass civil disobedience and satyagraha. Indochina, communist ideology and armed struggle were key tools. India maintained democratic principles. Indochina later saw a one party system post independence. India, gradual transfer of power. Indochina, Vietnam had to fight long wars against France and then the USA. Conclusion: both nations had unique paths, but the shared desire to break free from foreign rule united their people. While India chose a largely peaceful route under Gandhi, Indochina's struggle involved a more violent and military based resistance. So, friends, we have completed all the question answers from chapter 2, Nationalism in India. We have already studied the short notes from this chapter. You can find the link in the description and on the screen. If you like the video, kindly like it and share it with your friends. Also, subscribe to my channel. We will meet in the next video. Thank you for watching.